Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Question Period Canada. How you doing today? So, Jagmeet Singh, how do you feel about this clown? So, some people say he's just in it for the pension. I don't know about that. Maybe he's just in it for the Rolexes, the BMWs. I've got another idea. He's in it for the government expenses. Did you know that Jagmeet Singh spent $533,000 of your hard-earned tax dollars expensed in the first 3 quarters of last fiscal year? It's ridiculous. Well. Here he is doing scrums saying that the NDP is contributing, that he's not in bed with Trudeau, that there is no dependable coalition. I don't know about that. Talks about the NDP plan, but I don't really ever hear a plan. Let's take a look at Jagmeet Singh. Is this guy trash or toilet? Where are we going to put Jagmeet?
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hey, good. I'm good to just rock, just go and jump in. I feel like I gave a speech, so I don't need to do an opening. So feel free to just jump in.
So casual.
Yeah. Do you want to get rid of the consumer carbon price?
Well, what we want to do is we want to lay out our vision, a new Democrat vision for how we tackle the climate crisis. And the thing that we are noticing is that we need big polluters to pay their fair share. We want to stop big polluters, and we want to make sure that there's a cost to that pollution so that we've got to stop them. We need government to take real action. It can't just be that our only approach to fighting the climate crisis is using free market solutions. That is not sufficient to meet the seriousness of what we're up against. And we also don't want this to turn into a question for everyday people that, am I worried about affordability or am I worried about the climate crisis? I don't want that to be the choice that workers and people are having to struggle with.
Because people aren't struggling right now. It's like, not a problem, Jagmeet. Don't worry. We only have these 2 issues.
I don't want the burden to fall on working people. So we want to lay out our plan, which addresses the real solutions and using government power to tackle big polluters, and that unites working people together.
So for the consumer price specifically, though, do you want to get rid of it? Do you want to pause it? Do you want to stop the hikes? Like, what are you proposing here?
I would say that not many things quite like the coalition are uniting people. People are getting together, that's for sure.
For our full plan, we're going to release that plan and we're going to present that to Canadians. So we don't have our full plan laid out, but we have some elements, the principles of our plan. And the principles I want to lay out today were that I find it problematic that the Liberals have set up a divisive system where they're dividing the country. Some people got an advantage very cynically. It was pretty obvious that it was for votes in the Atlantic region, and that's the wrong approach to fighting the climate crisis. It shouldn't be that certain regions get different treatment than other regions. I think that's wrong. I also think that Pierre Poilievre has spent a lot of time making it very clear that Pierre Poilievre's approach to have no climate plan, and really his plan is to let big polluters dump toxic waste into our rivers without any regulation. That's what's going to happen. Pollute our air, pollute the land. I think that is absolutely wrong. So I want to...
Okay, I'm just going to interject and say that I think Pierre Poilievre's main focus for helping the environment would be nuclear energy, but Jagmeet wants to trash him instead.
Carve out a different path, a new Democrat path, one that acknowledges working people and acknowledges the need for fighting the climate crisis, and that it is going to be working people that bear the brunt of it. So we're starting to chart that course.
You spoke in your speech about unity. You need unity to fight climate change. How much of that, and how much of your support for yesterday's Conservative motion is about building unity underneath the NDP banner across the country? So provincial NDPs as well as federal NDP party on this issue.
Well, our focus is really on building, I mean, of course I want the party to be united, but really our focus is on building unity with working people. And our concern is that the current approach has been divisive and has been dividing people, and that it sets up this question, which I'm really worried about, that it pits affordability against fighting the climate crisis. And that to me is a problem. It should not be that a working class person has to make that choice, that am I on climate fighting side or am I on affordability side? That is not going to result in a solidarity that we need, a consensus that we need to take on what is a very serious problem. I remember going to communities just last summer, going to the capital of a territory where there were people evacuated from their community only to have the entire capital further evacuated. Like, this is serious. People have lost their homes already. We're seeing extreme weather. In one community, I saw a forest fire like they've never seen before, and then...
You know how the forest fires are starting, right? people are starting the forest fires, most of them.
Flooding like they've never seen before in the very same community. This is serious, and I want to be able to fight this in a way that brings people together.
But you say unity for working people. That's something that, you know, Pierre Poilievre has been kind of edging into your territory in terms of resonating with working people, especially in the West, especially oil and gas workers, people whose livelihoods depend on those industries. So how are you going to bridge that gap? I mean, it's a perennial question for you, but at this point, is this yesterday's move part of doing that?
I would say, and I meant this when I said this on stage, Pierre Poilievre is lying to workers. He is lying to them.
Well,
he is not in.
Oh my goodness, what a thing for Jagmeet to say. This is going to come up again. I'm sure Poilievre's not going to let that go.
Interested in fighting for working people. We know, and there's so much evidence, that when the cost of living was what workers are worried about, I understand that, I've lived that, I know what it's like to be worried about putting food on the table. What workers are worried about is the cost of living. We know conclusively that the major driver of the cost of living going up when it comes to groceries is corporate greed. He has never touched on that. He has never gone after that, and it is not a coincidence that one of his chief strategists is literally a lobbyist for the largest corporate grocery store in the country. He is never going to actually make workers' lives better, because he's not going to go after the real reason why your prices are so high. We are, and we are committed to that. So I would tell workers, he is lying to you, not just because of what he did when he was in Harper's government, but look at what he has proposed. He's proposed to attack EI, to take that away, take pensions away, to take healthcare away. All these things that workers need, he wants to take it away.
This, in my opinion, is fear-mongering, but what would you expect, I guess?
If you're a worker and you buy into what Poilievre is saying, because he's speaking to things you've been feeling for a number of years, and then you come along and say he's lying to you, are you not saying that, like, you're stupid for believing him?
No, not at all. I'm saying that Pierre Poilievre is lying. The people are only going to rely on what they're hearing, but I'm telling them.
This reporter's pretty good. She keeps fighting the good fight, it would seem.
That Pierre Poilievre is lying. Let's look at what he's actually doing, and let's look at the evidence behind what's going on. He is lying when he says he cares about working people, because he wants to take away healthcare, he wants to take away EI, he wants to take away pension. And these are things that he has already said very openly. These are things that are direct attacks on working people. That doesn't hurt a billionaire. That doesn't hurt a CEO, but that hurts a working class person. And so when he says he's on your side, he's lying to you. And I don't blame people for having received a message on their cell phone that says he's on their side. But my job is to let them know he is lying to you, and this is what he's really about.
Can you just clarify one thing? I know you said you're going to roll out your full climate plan soon, but that you did touch upon, you know, having polluters pay having corporations pay for the pollution that they produce. Are you saying that a carbon price is an essential component, and going forward, this is something that your party is sticking forward to? What form it takes, whether it's a consumer tax or if it's something that is simply focusing on big industrial polluters, but a price on carbon is an essential component of an NDP climate plan. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I can tell you that we had a recent, there was a recent report that assessed the strength of different policies and how they were actually impacting climate goals and reducing emissions. And we found that the evidence shows that an industrial price on pollution is absolutely working, and we believe that is a very strong component of how we take on the climate crisis. And we want more attention on the policies that are the biggest drivers of lowering emissions. An industrial price on pollution is absolutely fundamentally a big part of it. Other regulations like methane regulations, other measures are very effective. Let's work on what's most effective, bringing down emissions, and double down on that. Make those even stricter, make those even stronger. Look at other ways for us to really take on big polluters who are the real cause of the climate crisis we're in. That's where we want to put our emphasis. And we don't want working people to feel like they're shouldering the burden. That's not fair, and frankly, not a New Democrat solution to the problem.
Do you think your deal with the Liberals is still helping you politically in terms of Canadian support?
I can't wait to hear this answer, because it is not. The polls dramatically show that it is hurting the NDP badly.
Well, I mean, I answered this question a bit on stage, and I really believe this. And I know it's hard to understand because people, particularly Liberal and Conservatives, only operate through a lens of power. But when I share the story about Brianna, I've got so many stories like that, where real people in our country who could not afford getting dental care have been receiving it because of New Democrats. Knowing that seniors who I've met who live with pain in their teeth can get their teeth fixed soon is the victory for us. Making sure we can help with the cost of diabetes medication, birth control. Like that's what New Democrats, why I became a politician, to make a...
Those are all things that provinces take care of. That's not a federal jurisdiction. He's full of it, guys.
Life, to make life better for people. And I know it also convinces people that we can get things done. And I think it's proof that when we say we can do something, we can get it done, we can actually achieve it. It gives people confidence. When I say I'm going to take on corporate greed, I'm going to build homes that you can afford, people can know that I'm coming from a place where we've done big things to make people's lives better. We can do a lot more as well.
Are you worried though? Are you worried though that you're?
Oh, you didn't get one. Can I do one more after?
Okay, we'll do two more.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Everybody gets a question.
Oh, he's everybody's buddy. He's working with everybody. I want to point out just for a moment that during the same period of time that Jagmeet Singh spent 533,000 DAX dollars on expenses, Pierre Poilievre, during the same amount of time, $60,000. How does that add up? Doesn't make much sense.
Are you worried, though, that the Liberals' situation in the polls right now is starting to affect you and your party?
What we've noticed is that the Liberals' weak position in the polls gives us more leverage to squeeze more out of them. And my goal is, as long as I have an opportunity to squeeze as much help for people as possible to make Ottawa work for them, I'm going to do that. And then when the time comes for an election, I'm running to become Prime Minister.
Why do you think you get more leverage that way?
I feel like they're nervous about what's going to happen, and so we're using that nervousness or anxiety of the Liberals to force them to work for people. I'll give you the last question.
Thank you, Jagmeet. 8 to 14% isn't nothing in terms of reductions of emissions for consumer carbon pricing. What would the party tell your grassroots, climate-conscious foundation that think that turning back on a consumer carbon pricing is a mistake, political theater, cynical even?
Well, I would just say that the major concern I have is that the policies that are working the best, we know very clearly industrial price on pollution and other regulations of that nature are working very well. Let's double down on what works for sure, because we know it works. And I don't want a scenario where working people are put in that really uncomfortable and unfair position where they have to choose between their livelihood, like do I make my bills, do I put food on the table, or do I care about fighting the climate crisis? I don't want that to be the question in the minds of people. I want consensus and solidarity where we all get this is a fight that we need to win together. And so I don't want the burden to fall on working class people. And then frankly, New Democrats, that's not something that sits well with us. We believe in making the big polluters pay and not having working people feel like they're the ones that are somehow having to shoulder this. And that's why we're laying out a path for a New Democrat vision for how we fight the climate crisis and make life affordable and create good jobs.
Because all of these things can happen at once. It doesn't make any practical sense to me. Doesn't add up. So after spending 12 or 13 minutes with old Jagmeet, what do you think? Trash? Toilet? What is this guy, lying to us? He called Poilievre a liar 4, maybe 5 times in that piece. Ridiculous. He spent $533,000 of government expense money, your tax dollars, thrown out the window. A guy like Pierre Poilievre, he spent $60,000 in the same amount of time. You would think that it would cost more for Poilievre than it, like especially by those margins. I don't know, pension, Rolexes, BMWs. It's just frustrating because he feels to me like he's dividing and distracting. I've had people that watch some of my videos ask, do you think he's going to break up with Trudeau? And I'm like, no, I do not think he is. I think that's a ruse to get Canadians to think that it's going to happen, because that's just running out the clock till the next election. Who knows? Anyhow, I'm Aaron. This is Question Period Canada. We have a blast trying to learn all about Canadian federal politics. We watch the Question Period broadcasts live every time there is one, so come and join our chat group. It's a lot of fun. We have a great time there. And that's about it. Till the next video, thanks for watching this one. Have something healthy to eat. Remember to stay warm. All right. Catch you next time. Thanks.